Well, I don't know what that is, but I think it's called a sun. We've had nothing but rain and rain here lately. So I have a 2001 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and I'm finding or hearing that it must be a common problem. There's a fan relay that's back behind the headlight, and it's a lot of work to get to. But anyway, to make a long story short, I had this at the dealer, and they determined that what I can call the brain box, he has another fancier name for it, but there's a controller that burnt out and it's like $400 to fix. And that's for the part, not for installing. Well, after watching Musty One, he had a friend that had a diesel with a thermostat activated fan, electric fan in the radiator hose. So I checked out our local rod shop here in Lincoln, a few miles away, and they have a relay that you can hook up with a thermostat with a probe that street rodders use. And I decided I was going to mount that and give that a try to see if it'll kick the fan off and on before I ruin the transmission or something in here yet. I put a transmission in 2 years ago, and the motors, when you're going down the road, the water pump and everything works yet, but just if you're not going down the road and you're sitting in line for quite a while, or you get into slow traffic, she has a tendency to start to heat up. So I'm going to see if I can get this fan working today before I burn up something else that I don't want to burn up. Well, it says you can mount this anywhere on a flat surface. I think this may not be the optimum place next to the battery, but it's going to be the easiest to access, so I'm going to give that a try. I'll mount that right there on that little fender well, and I'll start running my wires. Okay, so far I'm not too sure if I like that yet or not, but that's what we're going to have for now. There's my controller for my relay, and I was having a lot of trouble getting my hand down in there messing with them wires, so whether it be right or wrong, I cut the pigtail off from the old relay, and I'm going to connect that to the fan, make sure I get the direction right for positive and negative, and go from there. I hope now that I bring it up I'm not going to jinx myself. I was a little bit too low to put this little cap on the first time, so I moved it up. I hope I didn't poke no hole in there. I shoved it through the radiator like they said to do. And let me see if I can get that cap on. Okay, I'm sure the cap is just to keep it from falling out. I got it in there. I got that wire, hopefully, where nothing will interfere with it. I don't know if you can see that very good or not. Now I'll hook up the wiring, put a fuse on it like it says, and go from there. I got this all mounted, the controller. Got my probe in. I got my pigtail made, and I didn't think about the heat shrink, so I didn't get that on there. Before I put it all together, I should have did those joints, but I think what I'm going to do is I got some of this here stuff I got in my Journey somewhere that I'm going to wrap around my wires to keep them together, and get the ground hooked up and the positive and see if it works. Well, that actually didn't turn out too bad. I wrapped that pigtail in that plastic wiring harness. I'm going to run it down along the side here and make sure it doesn't rub anything with that thermostat, hopefully. And we'll get her fired up and hooked up and fired up and see if it's going to work right. Well, one more little check here. I got my ground hooked up, my power going to the controller. It's all the way clockwise, which the instructions say to do. I got this all down in here, the thermostat control. Hopefully that will not rub into, and time to start her up and see if we can get her up to temperature, and then it tells how to adjust that switch. So I'll get it started up and probably shut you off here and see what we can do. Just dawned on me, I should have really checked before I let this get too warm. She's starting to warm up a little bit. Before she gets too warm, on make sure I don't have any leaks, so I poked that through the radiator core. I don't see any water leaking, so we should be good there. Okay, I can feel her warming up now. So it says to turn the dial counterclockwise till the fan turns on. Shouldn't last too long. It looks pretty light up ahead. Whenever the turtles are out. Well, she's cycling, and I don't know if you remember or not, but I told you most of my videos are what not to do. Well, it says to put a fuse in here between here and your hot wire, which I had done, and I keep blowing the fuse every time that fan kicks on, a 30 amp fuse. So the only thing I can think of, because this wire's not hot, well, a little warm, but it's not really hot. I guess the worst thing I'm going to do is burn up this $44. I think you can hear it just kick off there, so it's working. Cycling. So my thermometer or thermostat inside the radiator is working. And I got all my wires out of the way here. I was so happy the way they would look. And I'm going to end up, for today anyway, calling it good until I can find out how big of a fuse that's supposed to have on it, or then my fan kicks on again. So I'll check and see. You can adjust on how hot you want it to get and how much it'll cool down. And it's kicking on about 160, I would say, which is probably about right. And then it's not running very long, and the temperature gauge isn't getting up too high, so we should be good. If I just get that figured out and put a better fuse on there now, we should be good to go. That's a little warm, but that can be expected when it's running, I think. I think the startup of that fan's blowing a 30 amp fuse, and I got a feeling it's going to have a bigger fuse, or the fan is going out. Yeah, so I just got back from town. I'll probably put some footage in there. When we left, it just started pouring, and it's been quite a weekend so far, mostly rain. Are you having fun? Huh? Are you having fun? You old mutt, huh? You a hound dog? Come on, house. Let's go.